Hey guys, all the way with Alloway here with Joe Swanberg, writer and director of Drinking Buddies.
Yes.
Fantastic cast. So I can't help but make the comparison between craft beer and indie filmmaking.
Yeah.
So was that kind of an element that went into your choice of setting?
Well, sort of. I mean, I'm a home brewer and
Are you really?
yeah, I love beer. I specifically love like good Midwest craft beer. I wanted to set the movie in that world just because I was interested and excited. But I agree with you that there are a lot of corollaries between independent filmmaking and craft beer right now. I think that both industries are facing similar challenges and sort of are at similar places in their kind of lifespan right now.
Keeping the quality, but still getting the word out about the product.
Yeah, and also just competing with massive marketing budgets and you know, craft beers are fighting for shelf space the same way indie movies are fighting for screen space in multiplexes. It's they're up against behemoth corporations.
So we need to have an existential conversation about beer. Not something you
beer.
probably want to bring into a
I feel
party.
like beer is the root of many existential conversations.
Right? It is. That's very true. It is in the film.
Yeah.
So I'm curious where this story started for you, because it's got such a personal, really natural vibe to it. So where did it all begin?
Well, it's my friend Kate Thomas, who works at Half Acre Brewery in Chicago. That was sort of an early model for Olivia's character in terms of being one of the only women in industry that's very guy-centric.
Yeah.
So that was sort of an early thing that I was interested in. And Jake and Anna's characters in the movie, their relationship is sort of modeled on my wife and I before we got married, when we were sort of starting to have those conversations. So it's a lot of personal reference points and things with friends. And then, just sort of wanting... I mean, movies are a chance for me to spend time exploring things I'm interested in. So setting it in the world of craft beer was like just a fun chance.
It's refreshing, too.
Shoot at a brewery. And
and your cast is just... The chemistry is crazy.
Yeah.
I tweeted at you that I had a fun time watching this film, and I really did. So how did you get all these guys together?
Through various different avenues. I met with all of them. There was no script, so the casting process was really fun. It was just a conversational thing where we talked. I sort of talked about themes that I was interested in and sort of who the different characters were and why I wanted to make this movie. And then I asked them about who they were, and it was a really nice, cool casting process.
So there was no script. So you've been working with no script since Hannah Takes the Stairs with Greta Gerwig and the Duplass brothers, which we'll get, or Mark Duplass. So what is that like as a director, working without a script?
It's fun. I've gotten used to it. I mean, the process is sort of having an outline, or in lieu of an outline, like a strong sense of the story arc, and then I'm making realist movies. I'm not putting anybody in situations where they're having to improvise scenes about murdering somebody or something. It's all hopefully it's all scenes and conversations people have already had.
Totally.
So it's just sort of about skipping the writing process, because I want it to be specific to the actors, and also because I don't need to write it all out in order to convey to them what I'm hoping the scene does in the movie.
So I'm curious, other moments that kind of happened that you go, as a director, this is gold, this is not hitting the editing room floor.
Well, my favorite sequence in the movie involves Jake teaching Olivia to play blackjack, and then Ron and Anna on a hike in the woods, and it's sort of cutting back and forth between you certainly. I'm my own editor, so I definitely have a sense of while we're shooting certain things that are definitely going in the movie or that feel really good to us. Watching Jake play cards in general was something where everybody on the shoot crowded around the monitor with a huge smile on their face.
Is he really good at cards?
Yeah, he's just so... I think Jake is amazing. I think
he's my future husband.
Yeah,
will you tell him?
Yeah,
okay.
sure. He's incredible, and was always incredible through the movie. But something happened when he like got into like blackjack dealer mode that was just like so funny and dynamic, and I don't know.
Because he's serious, and he's like not a serious dude.
Yeah, I don't know. It was amazing. So like everybody on set felt it, and it was like really amazing to witness.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious. I mean, drinking is in the title, and you know, I was talking to Crystal Ferry, and they were like, "Oh, we did the drugs."
Yeah.
So were you guys intoxicated?
Yeah. Well,
can you tell me?
Sure. I mean, they're drinking real beer throughout the movie, but you know, they're not. Nobody's like slamming craft beers. It's not like it's not a chugging sort of.
There was no like beer bonging happening before the scene.
It was so. I don't think anybody's ever wasted in the movie. But it was certainly fun to like, you know, have a beer with lunch every day and have it be just a nice integral part of the shoot.
Because you can feel it when you're watching the movie.
I think so. I think that and also, I mean, it was fun for me to teach the actors about beer.
Yeah, exactly.
None of them were as beer nerdy as I was. So.
Well, and you're also an actor, so I'm curious. I mean, I was at South by this year, and your name was just everywhere. I mean, you're in Your Next and directing this, and I was like, wow, this is a guy who's really involved in the community. So how does being an actor, producer, having your hands in everything help you as a director?
It's very helpful. I mean, I think that being an actor, all directors should have the experience of acting in somebody else's movie. I think mostly I'm just reminded of how vulnerable you are when you're at the mercy of somebody else's aesthetics. You know, you're sort of like trying to please. You're spending your days trying to please somebody, which is a really weird position to be in. Or you're not, and you're difficult, and then you're on a set where you're difficult. Like, either scenario is a tough spot to be in. And so it's nice to do that every once in a while and just sort of go into the movies that I direct a little more sympathetic and empathetic to their situation.
What an actor does.
Just reminds me to you know, say good job at the end of a take, and you know, it's simple things, it's little things, but when I'm acting in somebody else's movie, those things go a long way towards making you feel like you're not screwing up your friend's movie.
Well, and speaking of being in friends' movies, you, Ty West, Amy Symes, is that her name? Simons. Every time I say her name, I'm like, how do you pronounce it? Mark Duplass, you guys are all sort of hitting your stride at once, and it's great because you've worked together for years. What has that journey been like with them through the indie scene?
It's been fun. I mean, it is cool to see everybody doing bigger movies and seeing people's movies sort of reaching a bigger audience right now. I don't know. We all, you know, we all live in different places, so there's, you know, film festivals and other times that we see each other, but for the most part, it's just nice to think that there's people out there that can lend a helping hand when I need it. And, you know, we all watch cuts of each other's movies, and there's various ways that we're involved in the process, but it's nice that everybody is sort of functioning in front of and behind the camera, because it gives the community a different feeling, because you're sort of out there in a different kind of way when you're sort of flipping back and forth.
I mean, your advice to up-and-coming filmmakers who are also looking for that sort of community, because at the end of the day, it's about your team, specifically in indie filmmaking. What's your advice to get your hands into and find a community like that?
I don't know. We all got lucky. I mean, I would give Matt Dentler, who is the head programmer at South by Southwest, from like 2005 to 2008, maybe. I would give him as much credit for that community as any of the filmmakers, because he cultivated those kinds of movies. You know, he really these were movies that were being rejected by Sundance, and you know, he sort of created a home
for mumblecore.
Yeah, for all of us, and so that's like where we met each other and sort of where that collaboration sprung from. I don't know. I think you know, what I would encourage young filmmakers to do is to say yes to everything, to be open to working, you know, and you can't meet people unless you're out there.
Yeah.
And, you know, the only other advice that I always give to people when they ask is, like, we live in a culture that's very focused on, like, your first feature or, like, your first book or your first record. Like, what is this big artistic statement that you're going to make? I think things have changed, and I think that because the tools are so cheap now and because it's so easy to make movies, we're not, like, young filmmakers should embrace the fact that they could make features in high school and in film school, and that, like, I wouldn't even worry about anybody seeing your movie until you're, you know, 10 movies in.
Well, congratulations on the film. It's hilarious.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.